Hi, it's Janice Dru-Bennett, and today is Sunday, May 2nd, 2021. I'm really excited today to have Jeanessica Sorto with me. We met through the Women's Entrepreneurship Mentors program of Hudson County. And what we would like to talk to you a little bit today is the growth of your own business, as well as the growth of your own career, since both Jeanessica and I have had a career as well as started our own businesses. And then we'll also talk a little bit about mentorship. So Jeanessica, why don't you introduce yourself to start?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeanessica Sorto. I am a financial controller for a tea supplier. I've been with them for 13 years. I also have my real estate license, and I just started a business called Steep Roots Tea Company, where we combine our love for tea and mindfulness.
Great. So Jeanessica, you mentioned that you've had a few mentors throughout your career and right now, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about the mentorships that you've created for yourself, how you found your mentors, and a little bit more about what mentors you have.
Absolutely. Every relationship that I encounter, I feel is an opportunity to learn. So a mentor can be someone who doesn't even know they're mentoring you. But to be specific, I registered for a Women's Entrepreneur Network event some time ago, and I recall missing the event for some reason. But later, I received an email asking if I wanted to become a mentee or a mentor. So I immediately replied and I signed up to be a mentee. I wanted to connect with other women to share experiences and goals without judgment. So I met you on that call and we talked about our professional careers. We learned that we had similar experiences when it comes to going from peer to manager. And so I wanted to learn more about how you transitioned into your role. I needed advice. And so I feel like I've talked to you and have learned more in that area. We also talked about advancing in our careers and how constant learning plays a large role. You shared some very helpful platforms, which I was unfamiliar with. One of them is Clubhouse. You've also mentioned Alpha and Right Pitch, which I have not looked into yet. I also connected with Kelly Soto on that call, and she has been very insightful when it comes to the business. She has questioned me on my financial plan and future goals, and she also was generous enough to invite and introduce me to her networks where I was able to connect with other women. It is through her that I have been able to promote my business, practice speaking, and sharing the mission of my company. And also she's connected me with charitable organizations.
That's great. And so as you've kind of grown in your career, become a manager, can you share some of the career tips that you've learned as your role has progressed?
Yes. In my professional career, I would advise anyone who wants to grow within their role to work on building their skill set daily, to learn things that make them the best at what they do or see themselves doing, to connect with people in the role in which they wish to be in and to learn from them. I'd also say to practice mindfulness and focus their attention on time and things that will get them closer to achieving where they want to be.
That's great. And similarly, I think as you've started your own business, can you share some of the challenges and resources that you've found helpful during starting your business and as part of your job as well?
Yes. So when starting a business, I'm sure you know there's many challenges, but ones that will haunt you forever are negative self-talk, self-doubt, and high expectations. So I feel we are our own worst enemy, and we need to train ourselves to be more aware of what goes on in our minds. We can talk ourselves out of anything if we allow ourselves to. So when starting your own business, you also need to check your expectations at the door, because the people you think will support you are not always the most supportive.
Can you dive into that a little bit more when you say the people who you think are most supportive aren't?
Yeah, we expect a lot from our friends and family. And so we expect them to be the first ones to support our businesses. And it's not always that way. We have to lean into outside networks to believe in our mission first, and then everyone else will follow.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about, eliminating the negative self-talk and kind of meditation as ways to help you kind of ground yourself. Are there some resources that you found helpful, and kind of diving into additional ways that people can actually overcome that negative self-talk?
So I have the Calm app where I practice guided meditations daily. And they have multiple topics from self-doubt to building confidence to practicing self-compassion. And those are all things that have helped me to feel better about goals that I'm looking to accomplish. I don't talk myself out of things so easily, and I'm not so hard on myself anymore.
Mm. And there's also an app that I've used called Marigold that is a confidence app. And I actually have a discount code that I can share if anyone is interested in a confidence-based app too.
Oh, I would love to look into that.
Are there any other insights that you'd like to share that you think would be of value?
Yeah, so I really enjoy using Clubhouse. I haven't started my own room yet, as we've discussed, but I am working my way there. It's slow progress is better than no progress. So I've listened to many topics from starting a business to angel investing and practicing my sales pitch. One of the reasons I love Clubhouse so much is that I can speak and make faces if I mess up and no one can see me. I also subscribe to Lunch Club, which is another website where you can connect with people once a week or twice a week, as many times as you'd like, to talk about topics you may have in common with someone else. I've also listened to TED Talks, and I'm subscribed to LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, and Udemy.
Yes, I like all of those resources as well. And I think edX is another kind of MOOC course program. I've done Coursera as well. So I think you had a few questions for me as well about mentorship, right?
Yes, I did want to say one more thing.
Sure.
About being a mentee and starting your business is don't be afraid to be vulnerable. You know, no one ever gets to the top by themselves. So we have to be able to speak up and ask for help. It's how we learn, it's how we overcome fear, and it's how we grow. And then now I'll move into your questions.
Sure, yeah. And I think vulnerability is always tough when you're kind of working on building yourself up and a career and a business. And at the same time, that is a core part of being able to build relationships and really be open to change.
Yeah. So have you been a mentee?
And I absolutely feel that being a mentor is part of, goes two ways. So often as a mentor, I feel like I'm a mentee as well, in that I'm learning from whoever I'm mentoring. And I actually did start out with several mentors in my career where early on in my career in the financial services industry, starting out, you're paired with a mentor, which was very helpful. So I think companies that do encourage pairing of mentors and mentees can really be beneficial for especially people early in their careers. I've also been matched with mentors through different programs. Like in Rhode Island, there's the Tech Collective, and there was a women's entrepreneurship or women's tech mentoring program. And I was matched with Kathleen Mallon, who is the Rhode Island Foundation VP of Technology. And I was working, in a technical space, and really was highly valuable to have someone to talk to. And now that I'm still in technology, there's also an organization called T200 that just kicked off, and I'm really excited to help kind of guide women who are on track to the C-level, be matched with mentors who are already in the C-level or one step below, and kind of just finding the one person above or toward where you want to go to find that mentor. One other site that I think is very helpful for finding mentors has been Ivy Exec, and they have a whole set of profiles of mentors, and I can post links whenever I post a YouTube video. I'll include links as well to share. And so Ivy Exec, I've been matched with the CMO. I also have a longtime friend I met through Ivy Exec. So I think there are definitely platforms out there where you can find a mentor. And I was just talking to another woman about mentorship, and there's also sponsorship, which is someone at your company who would advocate for you. or someone who is at another company who would advocate for you to go there or kind of really move up in your career or kind of gain a promotion or be, recommended for a role that you might not have done before. So finding a sponsor as well can often be, helpful as you move forward. And the woman I was talking to seemed to be very accomplished, and she said she had never had a sponsor in her career. So as we think about, being a mentor or being a mentee, I think some of that is also finding a sponsor or being a sponsor for someone.
Do you feel that it's best to be matched with someone, or do you think it's better to pick your own based on how the We Networks, the Women Entrepreneurs Network platform is, where you're able to meet everyone individually and choose who you want to mentor you?
I think it's good to have a combination. Like Lunch Club does the AI matchmaking. So I don't necessarily pick who they match with me, but I've met some really wonderful people. And, I think that some of them may lead to mentor-mentee relationships. Part of it is being active as a mentee to articulate what you're looking for. Because I think if you're, as a mentee, if I go to a mentor and I don't know what I'm looking for, it's a lot more difficult to have that relationship. And as a mentor, I want to help guide the mentee where they want to go based on, my experience. And it's really important from a mentor perspective for the mentee to come to me with their agenda. And that reminds me of one other platform that I've been a mentor on. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll post the link as well, where they had a whole mentoring training. And it was matchmaking through corporations would be paying for mentors outside of their corporation. And I ended up with several mentees through that platform. I could probably look it up real quick while we're talking. Mentorship. Here, why don't you talk a little bit more about, whether you would consider being a mentor, and I'll look up the platform
I would consider it. I'm just curious to know, how do you know when you're ready to be a mentor? Because I feel like I am self-motivated and I know what I want to do. And that plays into the mentor role, right? Where you have the resources, or you've done the legwork, and you can share those with someone else, and also inspiring others and motivating them, to empowering them to make those changes that will lead them closer to where they want to be. So how do you know you're ready?
Well, and Jeanessica, when I talk to you, I think you're ready. I mean, when I think one of your questions for me was, when did I become a mentor? How did I know I was ready to be a mentor? And the first thing I thought of is when I was 12 years old, and there were a group of kids around me that were younger than me, and I led them in kind of an engaging conversation, and kind of while the parents were talking, I kind of led a little conversation with the younger kids. And so I started babysitting at a very early age, and I feel like there's a bit of mentorship there as well. So guiding someone along who's not as far along as you, or even someone who might be ahead of you in some ways, but be able to learn from you in other ways. So I think as long as you have, the confidence to share your knowledge, which I think is something that, I've worked on my confidence with mentors, and through the Confidence app, like I mentioned, and through Toastmasters and practicing speaking, all of these things have helped build my confidence over the years. And I think anyone is ready to be a mentor, by just, being available to listen to someone and share thoughts and advice, and creating that environment. And I just looked this up. The website, or the program that matches mentors with mentees, is called Everwise. And so you can apply to be an Everwise mentor. And based on your experience, they'll match you with people who are, who's normally their companies are paying for them to have outside mentors.
Okay. That's
so that might be a good way for you to try out being.
Definitely send me all of these links that we've talked about. That you mentioned that were new. So what would you say are the challenges and benefits of being a mentor?
I think part of the challenge of being a mentor is finding the time. And often, like, one piece of advice I had gotten when I was looking for mentors is asking your mentor, how often do you have to meet? Do you want to meet, or are you able to meet weekly, or every other week, or once a month, for half an hour, for an hour, for 2 hours? Like, really finding out from the person you're asking to mentor, what their availability is. And I think my limit at any given time may just be 1 or 2 people I can mentor. And then I think another challenge is maintaining that relationship, because I know you and I too often will say we're busy at work, we can't meet. And so maintaining that commitment as both a mentor and a mentee and following through and kind of keeping it up. That's why I think Everwise has a really strong program where they do 6-month structures. And I remember when I did my mentorship through Tech Collective, I had asked Kathleen, how long do you mentor people? And I think it was 3 months or 6 months. And then sometimes you maintain that relationship for the rest of your life. And other times you part your ways and you don't talk again. I think having a mentor is, one is at any given time, there might be a different reason you could need a mentor, or different reasons as a mentor I'm mentoring because I like to help others. And at different times I may have less time to kind of give for mentorship. And I know some people will charge for mentoring as well, which I think is more like coaching in some ways, when there are certified coaches that can really help you, guide you toward a specific direction.
So is there a big difference? And I'm sorry for so many questions, but
Yeah.
what would you say is the big differentiator between a life coach and a mentor, other than the pay?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and there are paid mentors as well. And I think sometimes it's the level of experience, not necessarily experience, but like a life coach often has certifications, and they have a structured way of coaching. Just like if I, my kids just started playing baseball and soccer, the kids, coaches are parent volunteers. Now, if they were to continue to progress, they're going to potentially look for stronger coaches or, private, teams. And I used to run, and I would work with a running coach through a running club, or through there's paid coaches for running. So I think it all depends on the level of kind of skill that you're looking for like a mentor is somebody who I think has a lot of experience and is willing to share that experience, or even just, like I said, a little experience. Whereas a coach or a paid mentor often has additional value that they're bringing to the table that might be kind of more tangible. That's kind
There's
of
a different level of commitment too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think if you're paying a mentor, you might be less likely to cancel a meeting. Although,
have you ever had to stop mentoring someone because their commitment wasn't there?
I've never told someone, let's stop this mentoring relationship. I think it naturally just stops. Like if there's 1 or 2 and then we agree they don't have the time or the commitment, or if there isn't like a good fit with the kind of personality, very rarely. I've also mentored there's a Mentor Rhode Island program where I was a mentor for a 2nd grader. And I really loved doing that until I had to start commuting farther, and then I couldn't mentor the younger child. But I think mentoring children is something I really enjoy as well. And it's really hard, like big brother, big sister is also a way to find a younger kid to kind of mentor.
Mm-hmm. My son was enrolled in the Big Brother program, so I'm familiar with it.
Was it valuable for him, or?
It was. Yeah, he learned a lot, and they
I would love to see
for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, I think every kid could use a mentor, and every person, and being a mentor is really, rewarding as well. And that's, better than the challenges. I mean, it overcomes the challenges when you're a mentor, and you see the relationship building, and you see the successes and the way a mentee kind of lights up when they see you as a child, and just the resources you're sharing. When people appreciate or say that the mentorship was valuable, that to me is payment enough. So that's the other thing. I've seen very accomplished mentors who just do it because they feel that they enjoy the relationship, and they enjoy seeing someone grow, and there's different levels. Like, your time is value, so being able to make the decisions about who you mentor, or if with your skill set, there's a lot of programs out there too, and I've taken multiple courses online that I've paid for, and I feel like sometimes the people who are teaching those courses are like mentors as well. And I'm learning a set of information And I normally would recommend the courses that I've taken to others too. And that's kind of how I had set up my business too, because when I recommend products, services, or solutions, I end up earning a percentage of referrals. Although there's also some things I refer where I don't get paid anything. So it's, you know, I like making connections. So sometimes I get paid when I make a connection and sometimes I don't. And I just like to make connections.
Yeah, it's a good feeling when you can connect people and each of them is providing something to the other. It's like paying it forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think in terms of advice I give to others who are thinking of becoming a mentor is just jump into it. And, you know, even having a mentor to help you with your mentorship, if you feel like it's your first time being a mentor, and
That's
then you can say, I have a mentee who's going through this, and if I can't, you know, or I have a challenge with it, then you can talk to other mentors about, you know, being a mentor.
That's a good point.
And I do think these structured programs are very helpful, because if you've never been a mentor before, like with Everwise, they have a whole set of materials that they share in terms of what does the first meeting look like to set the expectations? How do you check in and then wrapping it up so that it becomes a very structured way of setting up a mentorship that could help. And clearly you can do a mentorship in multiple ways, but having a program that helps guide you through it can also be beneficial.
All good tips. As
Great.
always, you're very resourceful.
Yes, and I think you've got great resources as well. So let's definitely stay in touch, and I'll put your social media links as well when I post this, so that everyone can follow you. And the links that I mentioned we can include in the YouTube video as well. So
thank you.
Thank you so much.